Hi, good morning. Getting into the afternoon. This is Valerie Milano, the senior editor of the Hollywood Times. And we have Uli here. If you don't mind introducing yourself, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Ulises Bella, saxophonist, founding member, one of the original founding members of Ozomatli.
Fantastic. And we're here today to talk about a wonderful Alzheimer's event that's going to be going on. And yes, you have been described as an activist. Do you wish more bands would take a stand on important issues? And is it riskier now in our current polarized political climate?
I think bands should do what is true to them because if a band wants to be politically active and they do things that they're trying to just jump on a bandwagon or they don't really understand or they're, iffy about giving their support, it could turn around and bite them in the ass, in the sense of like it just comes off as insincere. So I would say, uh, you know, people can basically support what they want with their music. I think bands should do that more often, whether it's something that's local, like community, like, oh, let's do a benefit for the local animal shelter or whatever, or something more international, whatever's. But I think people need to find what resonates in them or not, it, I'd rather someone not do anything and be real than like than be fake and just something that really 100. And as far as polarization, well, that's society in general. You're damned if you don't in a lot of ways. Like if you support something, there's going to be somebody mad that you do, and vice versa. So I think, again, you have to pick and choose your battles.
We got all your statement, and thank you so much for sharing that. You've been working unit for decades now. How does a band survive in a landscape where all recorded music is basically free?
A band survives, or at least how we've survived, is by thinking out of the box, and more importantly, our live performance has always been the thing. You know what I mean? So if there's one thing they still can't put in a bottle and sell, and can it up, is a live performance. They tried, especially, they'll be like, oh, we're going to stream the concert, we're going to stream, but at the end of the day, there's nothing that's going to take away from the experience of being and feeling live music, whether it's sonically or the environment, everything is what makes a live show a live show. So that's always been our forte and it's always been our strength. So we always focus on delivering that to our audience and our fans. And that's the one thing. It's like Ozomatli is the kind of band where you don't even have to know any of our music. You don't even have to know us from Joe as far as like our songs, our repertoire, who what we've been about. You could just go to the show and enjoy it because that's how eclectic the music is, and that's how high energy the show is too. So I mean, I've been told that many a times. Like, you don't even have to know you guys' music to enjoy the show. So I think in a lot of ways, our live show and also thinking out of the box. And what I mean by thinking out of the box is like during COVID, we did do some streaming concerts. We just released a kids book called Moose on the Loose that accompanies a song on our kids' album called Moose on the Loose. So now the kids can listen to the song and it goes with the book. And things like that, it what keeps us afloat. You know what I mean? Where it keeps us doing interesting things, being active, and surviving. What it means to be a musician in a band nowadays.
Wonderful. Great. I haven't heard about the book yet, so that's
Yeah.
exciting. Are you concerned that AI, electronics, and sampling are trivialized, more organic approaches to music making? Is there an LA sound?
I don't know if there's an LA sound because LA is so eclectic and huge, and there's so many different scenes going on that it's hard to pinpoint to say, oh, Yeah, you could say, generically, there's an LA sound. If you throw it back, whether it's your Beach Boys, your Laurel Canyon artists, like, all those type of the Eagles, that LA, California sound, But I think nowadays, there's so many different bands and there's so many different things going on that for me, it's hard to pinpoint to say, oh, yeah, there's an LA sound. But as far as AI is concerned, yeah, I mean, I don't think musicians are the only ones that are worried about that. I think creatives in general are worried about it. Obviously, visual artists are really worried about it because it's like you could just tell the machine, hey, do me a piece in the style of Picasso, and the thing comes up with it, And sometimes it's actually pretty good. You're like, whoa, I'm kind of impressed. And the same thing goes for music. It's kind of impressive how the robot can do a Kiss song in the style of Sinatra all of a sudden. It's these kind of quirky, funny things. Now, again, I think the one thing that humans can still do is make that connection, whether it's in a live setting, and because the thing with AI, it's only going to get better, right? The technology is only going to get better. So who knows what's around the corner? But I think in general, like we're not the only ones. Creatives, blue collar jobs. Hell, I remember even sitting next to a pilot one time on a plane, and we were discussing that how sooner or later, the planes are going to be, flown by robots. So it's like, I mean, it's kind of hard to guess how much of a danger it's going to be for creatives and how much of it's going to impact our living, but it's definitely going to impact one way or another.
Thank you. So your upcoming tours, what can people expect to hear?
Well, usually it's a mixture of old and new material, for sure. We have a up and coming show playing with Cypress Hill like next weekend, not this weekend, but the next. And then we take off to San Antonio for a regular show, a Dia de los Muertos show, and then the very next day we have a kids show. So we got to put on different hats for each one of those shows, in certain ways, to accommodate the audience.
And any music groups that you particularly like yourself?
New or old or
Kind of both. One of each.
well, I mean, that's really hard. It's like, hey, pick a band that of the thousand bands that you listen to all the time,
Sorry. Yeah.
But today, for example, I'm gonna go see a Brazilian artist at the Disney Hall. Her name is Marisa Monchi. She's like almost like the Sade of Brazil. She's an amazing artist and singer. So it's definitely the menu is definitely eclectic over here.
Cool. All right. And then I'm going to bring it back home. So the upcoming benefit is for Alzheimer's. Does this I know personally because I've been reading about it because I'm doing a story on this particular cause. But a lot of our viewers and our readers don't. Can you talk about the cause and how it resonates with any of you on a personal level?
Well, we've done already events with Alzheimer's LA. We played their first concert that they ever did, Making Memories. And super cool organization, super helpful. Not only has the band have to deal with Alzheimer's dementia, I personally had to deal with it. My mom had dementia. I mean, I don't know, she wasn't diagnosed. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a full diagnosis of what she had, but she definitely had Alzheimer's dementia type thing, going on. And I was her caregiver for many years. So I realized she just passed in June. So I realized the type of stress and the type of physical commitment you need and the love you need to take care of somebody like that. It's a lot of work and physically and mentally, and it's a lot of stress on the family, and not only myself but my trumpet player singer Azu, he's dealing with it too. His mom has Alzheimer's. One of my best friends right now, his mom has Alzheimer's, and we're always kind of helping each other. But Alzheimer's LA has been crucial in, especially if you need a support group, if you need advice, if you need help in all kinds of things. Many of us have reached out to them outside of the band, and even my friend that I was mentioning, and reach out to them, and they have provided that support.
Yes, yes. I have the same experience. I was a caregiver for my mom as well. She lasted a long time because they got her on the right cocktails, the right
Mm-hmm.
pills, and that helps so much. And
Isn't it
I
crazy? Isn't that crazy how if you find the right medication? Because I have another friend who his dad has Alzheimer's, and the same thing as you mentioned. It's crazy how like if they find the right medication, it almost keeps them in this plateau. Like they don't really get too worse, and they don't, they kind of keeps them there, and it's kind of amazing actually. But yeah, like finding, I guess the trick is finding that right cocktail, correct?
exactly. Yeah, she lasted a long time. I was very,
Mm.
very impressed with that can happen because it is genetic, and you know, we're still kind of young, and so it's like, please, let's keep this research up, you know?
Oh yeah, and for sure, it put a lot of things in perspective for myself when I was taking care of my mom, because I'm pretty positive her dementia was connected to diabetes. And so all of a sudden, as I mean, I'm a late 40s guy, so it's like I'm thinking like, yo, I really got to get my shit together in a certain way. Like I got to watch what I eat, I got to exercise, I got to move around more, I got to take care of my brain more, and all these things kind of like, I mean, I could call it health anxiety.
Right.
Like, oh shit, like what's going on, happen to me, like. And I lost a lot of weight because of it, because I stopped eating sugars and carbs and processed food for a while. I mean, I'll dabble here and
Off and
there, and
on,
then
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, I mean, the most beautiful things in life: bread, tortillas, rice, all these
Carbs.
things. It's like, come on, baby. Like, I need that in my life. But you kind of get used to eating a certain way when you're trying to eat cleaner. But I'll still cheat every once in a while. But it definitely put a spotlight on my diet and how I need to take. Because obviously, I see my mom. Diabetes is obviously um, something that devastated that side of the family, like pretty much
Yes.
everybody. So then you start thinking, well, hell, if they all got it, there's a little bit of that in me, and that I have the potential of that. So whether it's not taking care of myself, my mom lost a foot because of diabetes, so it's like all of a
Mm.
sudden I'm like, oh man, like if I don't take care of myself, this is like the blueprint to the future if you don't do that. So I really hope and pray that whatever development comes in the treatment of Alzheimer's dementia, um, or any kind of like that, all the different forms of it, I hope they really come up with a different kind of like treatment and hopefully cure, in the future, because it's such a devastating disease. And families like yourself and us who have had to deal with it can be so heartbreaking, and so like, that first time that your loved one doesn't recognize you or is asked, who are you, it can shatter your heart, and
Mhm.
then you have to learn to like, okay, don't take it personal, don't, this is just the disease talking, da 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 da. And it could be so heartbreaking, and the thing that creates us as human beings and makes us humans in a lot of ways is our memories, right? Is
Yes.
our experiences in life. So when that gets taken away, it's almost like our loved ones turn into babies. It's so weird, it's like it's almost like they're infants, and you treat them like infants, like they don't they'll. And the other interesting thing that I think, I could go on this forever, but the other interesting thing is how even in the throes of Alzheimer's or dementia, it's like they'll have those moments of lucidity that all of a sudden you're like, wow, like what's going on and how the brain functions. For my mom especially, it was music. I would play music that she loved, and all of a sudden she's like singing along to the lyrics, and I was like,
Remembers
wow,
that.
you.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you remember that? But you couldn't remember, like, what you just had for lunch, Like, it's incredible. And I really hope that I heard that there are some, progression in development of new drugs and things like that. But I really, 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 really hope that something hopefully in the next 20 years or whatever, like can really impact the severity of that disease.
Agreed. I know. I think we are getting there, and that's why we all have to support these kinds of organizations big time. I mean, when you think about the past, way back when when the Alzheimer's word wasn't even spoken of, you wonder, people that's passed away, you didn't know how they passed, you didn't know what was going on with them. But Uli, thank you so much for talking to us and wising, helping us all wisen up to this disease. And we've got to get better. We're going to all get better and learn more. So
Yeah, hopefully, I just heard of a development of a new drug that they're testing out, and I mean anything really. But then also, I think for all of us is the concept of prevention and trying everything we can do to stay healthy and to take care of ourselves. Because I've gone through phases where I'm like, I don't care. It's burritos and burgers and smoking weed all day, whatever.
exactly.
You know what? Drinking, whatever we do to like kind of like abuse ourselves. But then at a certain point, like I tell my fellas, it's like, hey man, we're at the age the check engine lights are coming on, and you
I
better
love
take
it.
care of the engine. You better, you don't want to ride around with that light on forever, because you're gonna get stranded on the freeway.
It's for real. It's for real.
Yep.
Great. All right. Well, I know you're a busy man, so I won't keep you much longer. But again, I appreciate you. And we are the Hollywood Times dot today. So look us up every now and then. And then our YouTube is Hollywood Times Official. And we're gonna spread this word of this organization. And we're gonna be coming out to see you and spreading that word as well.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
absolutely.
The shows are great. The last
Yes,
time
they
the
are.
last
I've
time
been
we did
there.
it, yeah, the Alzheimer's LA show and a bunch of other great bands are going to be on there and artists. So definitely anybody who just wants to see a show or support a great cause, I invite y'all.
Absolutely. Okay. Have a great rest of your day. And let's all
Okay.
try to take care of ourselves when it comes and goes, but it's all good.
Yep. 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 A little yin and yang. You know what I
You
mean?
got it. Thanks,
All
babe.
right.
See you
All right.
soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.